ask Joe because Joe's a restaurant girl business. And run several restaurants around. You were
I grew up in my father's business. Right. Went off to UF. I started my own.
Technical director.
Yep, technical director for Hewlett down in South Florida.
Yes, I mean you've got plenty of experience, and then you own a distributorship.
Mm-hmm.
So the hardest part is the learning how to.
Yes.
And that seems to be like the scariest stuff. What I see with little people that is Japanese. What? They got bitten by that guy, dropped, ripped off, and then we dressed it back to being solo because that was so great.
Yeah.
And if you never had anybody, there's nobody who jumped off a truck.
Mm-hmm.
Even me, while I managed the 20 rebates, never actually did the hiring.
Gotcha.
Like corporations did the hiring. They did all the background checks. They did everything. I just had I like this guy. Everything's good. Everything's good. Yeah, right now we're in spring.
And that first hire is going to be the toughest.
That already goes well, but it's still.
He's a regional director.
It's still got
really. Yeah.
Do it, but you know that I already learned it.
He's been 7 hours. He's up to
50 hours, 2 weeks.
Yeah. So when I was Chris talking about you as your Billy's, found out.
Yeah.
I knew it was
Yep. What I normally say is 2 weeks. You got a good idea.
Yeah.
I still like to give them more time. Especially if they're walking that line, you can rehabilitate them if they're having some problems in 2 weeks. We start to get an idea. They start calling in sick, and my grandmother was in the hospital, or etc. So saying, okay, I'll give them another chance. I'm not going to fire them. Hey, we have to.
She hires people.
No. So, what do you look for? What are some maybe top 3 things exactly?
So, for traits to look for. And we kind of hit this 2 different angles. So first, your question was, if you're looking to hire your first one, definitely if it's your first employee, somebody who is going to be more flexible. If let's say they're like a standard Orkin employee who's used to being told what to do, they've got SOPs for everything. You can't sneeze without a procedure.
Right.
You're not going to get that being the first employee of a small company. But they might be fed up with that corporate attitude, and they want that small family-run business. So push the culture, all the great things about the small business, but somebody who's flexible. And bottom line, you're going to drop the ball a bit. Like we said, like Jose was working 80 hours. You're trying to run the business, you're trying to sell and do everything. You can't help them on everything. And as you said, they kind of went out and they figured it out. That's what you want, is somebody who has that idea they're going to figure it out. Maybe not a completely green person for your first hire. I admit it's hard to find people with experience. And you might not have the budget.
I don't know my position on that. I've been every single guy that I had
green. You like the green ones. Yeah,
I'd rather train him from the green.
Yes,
and I don't want it because what we do is so. Yeah, what Dennis does, you pretty much do the same thing.
But did you say you have 12 guys now?
No. We got 4.
Oh, okay. Well, still 4 is pretty good. Now, yeah, and that's what I was kind of building up to. When you start having 2, 3, 4 people, now you got some flexibility. They're going out getting the work done. Maybe one is your lead trainer. It's not even you. And you've got time to train them. That first one is the hardest one. And even more so than having experience. I've seen people have success with hiring the family, like Jose did, or a friend, somebody that you trust that you can put out there, somebody who's going to give you a little bit of grace and cut you some slack if things don't quite go right. So that first one's a little bit trickier. But yeah, I agree. When you get up to that 4, somebody who's green, I love getting a training program going where you can train them the way you want. So you get rid of all those bad habits. Well, you don't even get them to begin with.
Dennis, you came from the big C company.
Yeah, we worked together at the same time.
So you have your brother running, or you have people that are employees that are not family.
I have my brother, who was my first hire, and then I have my daughter. I have 3 other techs. So, but there's really not the last tech that we have is really just like a hybrid route. It's not really a full route. He's basically doing starts and other things like that. But essentially, me and him left in 2015 with we both worked for Hewlett, and essentially kind of went on our own ways back in 2015. And ever since then, just been trying to scale at a slow pace. I am growing, probably not as fast as I want to grow, but yeah.
Now, your brother was your first tech.
My brother was my first tech, and it was it's a funny story. It was hard for me to really try to hire him because he came from a background that he had a rough go, and I gave him a chance, and I basically changed his life. And he had a mind for biology already. Like when he was a kid, he was catching snakes and doing just playing out in the woods and doing stuff already, and he was big into fishing and big into just animals. So I think it changed his life, and now he's and I know he wouldn't mind me saying this. He's about 5 years sober, and he got married, and he's basically, a father of a child that's not his, and he changed his life. And so, yeah, it makes me feel a certain way that, I helped him in a sense. And so that's great. Yeah.
How many texts have you actually gone physically?
Oh, man, I can't even count. I can't even count. I've hired and fired people on the same day. Like, I can't even count. It's the most difficult part. But I think for me, what I like to do is show them the value of how I'm involved as the owner and how much I care about their personal life and their goals, and then show them what we do and just basically the culture that we have. It's really like they get treated good as long as they have integrity. My biggest thing is, look, I can't teach you integrity, and I can't pay you enough to have it. So before I even hire you, that's what I tell you. I'm like, if you have integrity, you're going to do fine here. And I let them ride with a couple of guys, and those guys repeat the same things. Look, if you're going to work here, Dennis is a big stickler on integrity. So as long as you do what's right, when nobody's looking, you're going to be fine. I let him ride with a couple of guys, and they'll tell him, Dennis treats you good. This is a great place to work. But if you do the wrong thing, you're going to be gone. And so they already kind of know. And so I let my guys feel them out before I bring them in. And that's worked. That's actually worked. Yeah.
So you were talking a couple of months ago, you had your officer doing it. You had two guys that they quit. You were running around. Like, how do you, all of a sudden, everybody, like, 6% of your company was gone.
It was me and one tech.
You and one tech. And all of a sudden, you're like, all these hours, you're like,
every day, 7 days a week, just trying to get the stops done. But ever since then, I've overhired. So that last guy that I have, he's covering starts, he's covering, spot treatments, initial services, sales. I like to cross-train my techs because they actually sell. So everybody can sell. They might not be a good salesman, but everybody can show up to a rodent lead. Everybody can show up to a pest control lead, and they can pretty much sell it in the field. So I overhire, and I make sure that those guys know how to sell, and it's actually beneficial for them because they get commission. But I would never go back in that position again where I'm the only guy and I got one other tech and I'm working 7 days a week. That'll never happen again. So that's one of the areas that I think is hard for me to scale, to put money in other areas, because I stay with one extra guy, but I think it's worth it.